Okay, Jai. Let us begin. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. Translations and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashacha Deshatarane. So, Adi-lila, Chapter 4, The Confidential Reasons for the Lord's Appearance. My bookmark is at 180. Oh, I think we did more than that. 189? 170. No, we went way past that. Bear with us, folks. We're figuring out where we left off. No, we did one. That was, must have been the day before. You didn't come yesterday. Okay. You remember me? Okay.
The gopis lies in the joy
Of their beloved Krishna. The gopis, did we read this? The gopis think Krishna has attained so much pleasure by seeing me. That thought increases the fullness and beauty of their faces and bodies. Oh yeah, we talked about the competition that goes on.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about this, folks. Here, I know how to find out. I'll go to YouTube. Yeah, make a note. Let us begin. Please forgive me, everybody out there on YouTube, for this very embarrassing situation. Oh, that's wrong. Let's see. Live now. Yesterday's. Oh, I forgot to note it down. Okay, well, we'll just start somewhere, which is around the right place. If we repeat it, that's okay. So let's just start at 188.
Oh, maybe it is good.
188 is good. Tansabara nahi nija sukha anurodha tatapi badhaye sukha padila virodha. Go ahead,
The
Mother.
gopis have no inclination for their own enjoyment, and yet their joy increases. That is indeed a contradiction.
Jai. So we're talking about how the gopis, they just want to please Krishna. Nothing else matters. They don't try to be joyful or happy themselves, but it's just, it happens anyway by Krishna's grace. Evirodera eka matra deki samadana gopikara sukha Krishna sukhe paryavasana. Sneha.
For this contradiction, I see only solution. The joy of the gopi lies in the joy of their beloved Krishna. Purpose. The situation of the gopis is perplexing. For although they did not want personal happiness, it was imposed upon them. The solution to this perplexity is that devotees at Vrindavana therefore try to serve the gopis, namely Radharani and her associates. If one gains the favor of the gopis, he easily gains the favor of Krishna because on the recommendation of gopis, Krishna at once accepts their service of a devotee. Lord Chaitanya therefore wanted to please the gopis instead of Krishna, but his contemporaries misunderstood him, and for this reason Lord Chaitanya renounced the order of householder life and became a sannyasi.
Yeah, we're going to hear that pastime later, that Lord Chaitanya, he was Grihastha and he was a teacher. And sometimes he would, like when he was on break between classes or something, he would be in his room or in his office or classroom or something, and he would be chanting Gopi, 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 Gopi. And then the students would criticize him, oh, what is this? You know, he's saying Gopi, Gopi. He's like having some feelings for some cowherd women somewhere. Anyways, they thought it was like something wrong with him. And then they were criticizing him and things. So they brought it to his attention. They challenged him, in a disrespectful way. So he became unhappy. He became angry that they were challenging him like that and disturbing his, meditation. And so he chased them. He got up and he started chasing them away. And then they didn't like that. So then they went and got all their friends and they basically went and tried to attack him. They tried to retaliate with him. And then after that, Lord Chaitanya was like, oh, this is not going to work because I can't fulfill my mission if people don't respect me. They can't just be, attacking me and threatening me and things like that. So he thought if I take sannyas, then they'll understand that they can't just treat me like an ordinary person. So then he took sannyas. Yeah. Okay. I thought this was really interesting. Prabhupada writes, the solution to this perplexity is that Sri Krishna's sense of happiness is limited by the happiness of the gopis. In other words, Krishna can only be as happy as the gopis are. So Krishna's always trying to make the gopis happy. If the gopis are not happy, then Krishna can't be happy. And we see that, like, whenever Radharani is distressed, then Krishna's like,
Gets upset too.
yeah, there's one pastime where Krishna, he tried to go and, meet with Radharani, but she was not happy with him, so she sent him away. And then he just moped off. And then it says, described later that he was sitting next to the Yamuna, and he was just sitting there on a stone or something, and he was just sitting there like this, and he was picking up little pebbles and just tossing them and then watching the ripples and tossing another pebble. He was just kind of depressed because Radharani was not happy. And so then he had to do meet with his friends, and they had to figure out a whole strategy for going to make Radharani happy again. And then he was happy again. So that's why it says that if somehow or other, it says that, yeah, the devotees in Vrindavan try to serve the gopis, because if we can make Radharani happy, then we can make Krishna happy. If we get the favor of the gopis, we get the favor of Krishna. So there's a very esoteric science here. Okay, 190. Gopika darshane krishnera badhe prapulata se madhurya badhe yara nahika samata.
When Krishna sees the gopis, his joy increases and his unparalleled sweetness increases also.
Yeah, so Krishna becomes more sweet and more happy when he meets with the gopis. Were you going to say something, Pragati?
Yeah, I was saying, is it like vice versa too, that gopis' happiness is limited to Krishna's happiness? and
Yeah, it's the same
Krishna-
thing. So that's why he's saying in the previous verse, he said it's a competition, right? Which verse is that?
It's the com-
Or maybe it's coming up. Anyways, he talks about how, oh yeah, it's coming up. But there's a competition between the gopis and Krishna. That the gopis are trying to give more pleasure to Krishna, and Krishna's trying to give more pleasure to the gopis. They're trying to compete to see who can make the other one happy, who can love the other one more. All right, 191. Amara darshane Krishna paila eta sukha suke gopira prapula angamuka. Nikesh?
The gopis think Krishna has obtained so much pleasure by seeing me. That thought increases the fullness and beauty of their faces and bodies.
Yeah, so just seeing that Krishna's happy by seeing them, they become more beautiful. Because they're happy that Krishna's happy by their beauty, and so the beauty increases to make Krishna more happy. 192. Gopi Shobha Deki Krishna Shobha Badhe Yata Krishna Shobha Deki Gopi Shobha Badhe Tata. Lavanga?
The beauty of Lord Krishna increases at the sight of the beauty of the gopis. And the more the gopis see Lord Krishna's beauty, the more their beauty increases.
Oh, that's what I was just saying. Yeah, so it's both. Krishna sees them and he becomes happy and they become more beautiful. And then when they become more beautiful, then he becomes more beautiful. And then they become more beautiful and he becomes more beautiful. That's why it says that Krishna's beauty and his sweetness and his happiness and his love are always increasing. And the gopis the same, ever increasing ocean of transcendental bliss. Emata paraspara pare huda hudi paraspar pare keha mukha nahi muri. Divya? 193. Is Divya there?
Right, did you okay, in this way, a competition takes place between them, in which no one acknowledges defeat.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make you happier than you can make me. I'm gonna be more beautiful than you. I'm going to, please you more than you can please me. And they won't admit defeat. So they're always just going on trying to please the other one more. This is real relationship, right? Not material world. Everyone's trying to see who can get more advantage from the other one, right? I want to get more from you than I have to give to you. Yeah.
90%, 99%.
99%, Mother by Day, he says, and she's been in this world for a while.
That's good.
Yeah, it's true. Everyone's just trying to get some pleasure out of the other person somehow or other.
No, we expect them.
Yeah. Anyways, we have to change this. We have to change this consciousness, right? That instead of trying to, that I want you to please me, our consciousness has to be, I want to please you more.
We need to change cultivation.
Yeah.
Change thinking.
And then we become qualified to go to the spiritual world, because spiritual world, that's how it is, right? If our consciousness is what's in it for me, then we can't go back to Godhead. Basically, we have to be like, what can I do for Krishna? How can I please Krishna? How can I serve?
See, that's what gopis they think. No?
Yeah.
Krishna's brother.
Yeah.
They don't think about themselves.
Yeah.
But we think about ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, 194. Kintu Krishnara Sukahaya Gopi Rupa Gune Tanra Suke Sukha Vridhi Haya Gopi Gane. Arjuna, are you able to read? 194.
Yes. Krishna, however, derives pleasure from the beauty and good qualities of the gopis. And when the gopis see his pleasure, the joy of the gopis increases.
Yeah, so they become happy when they see that he's becoming happy. It's kind of like that, it's like, let's say you cook a meal for someone that you love, right? And then you serve them, you cook it nicely, you're thinking, oh, I hope the person's gonna like it. And then you offer it to Krishna and then you serve it out, and then person sitting down eating and they're like, oh wow, this is so good. Oh my God, this is the best whatever I ever tasted. And wow, what did you put in this? This is amazing. And then you become happy, right? I mean, you might become happy because I'm such a good cook, right? Or happy because you're being appreciated. That's, normal for us. But the gopis' happiness doesn't come from being appreciated. It comes from seeing that the other person's happy. So your intention was to make the person happy. Intention wasn't that I'm going to cook this person a meal so that they think I'm great, so that they will praise me. The intention is you want the person to be happy. So when you see that they're happy, then you become happy, because that was your intention. So we can experience that sometimes. 195. Ateva se sukha Krishna sukha poshe ehetu gopi preme nahi kama doshe.
Therefore, we find that the joy of the gopis nourishes the joy of Krishna. For that reason, the fault of lust is not present in their love. But by looking at the beautiful gopis, Krishna becomes enlivened. and this enlightens the gopis whose youthful faces and bodies blossom. This competition of increasing beauty between the gopis and Krishna, which is without limitations, is to delicate that sometimes mundane moralists mistake these dealings to be purely enormous,
Amorous.
enormous. But these affairs are not at all mundane, because the gopis' intense desire to satisfy Krishna surcharges the entire scene with the pure love of Godhead, with not a spot of sexual indulgence.
Mm. Yeah. So before we were hearing about the difference between love and lust, that lust means you want to please yourself, basically, and love means you want to please the beloved. So because the gopis are just trying to make Krishna happy, then there's not a single drop of lust. 196. Oh, we got a long verse here.
That's great.
Upetya patisundari tatibir abhyarchitam smitan kurakaram vitar natarapanga bangishatai stana stavaka sancharan nayana chanchari kanchalam raje vijainam bhaje vipina deshata keshavam. Sneha.
I worship Keshav. He is worshipped by the gopis, who mount the roofs of their palaces and meet him on the path with 100 manners of dancing glances and gentle smiles. The corner of his eyes wander like large black beads around the gopis' breast.
So this is showing how the gopis were so enthusiastic to see Krishna and to be seen by Krishna, because they know that when he sees them, he becomes happy. So when he's coming, then they run up to the roofs of the palaces and they glance at him and smile at him. 197. Ara eka gopi premera swabhavika china ye prakare haya prema kama ganda hina.
There is another natural symptom of the gopis' love that shows it to be without a trace of lust.
Okay, let's see where that is. 198. Gopi preme kare Krishna madhurya pushti madhurya badaya prema hana mahatushti. Nikesh.
The love of the gopis nourishes the sweetness of Lord Krishna. That sweetness in turn increases their love, for they are greatly satisfied.
Okay. Priti vishayanande tad ashrayananda tananahi nija sukha vanchara sambandha. Lavanga?
The happiness of the abode of love is in the happiness of the object of that love. This is not a relationship of desire for personal gratification.
Thank you. Yeah, Krishna's Kaviraj is like emphasizing this point again and again and again, right? So that we understand it. So important for us to understand the difference between love and lust.
You need to hear several times.
Many times, yeah.
Right.
Because he knows that our tendency is that, oh la la, the gopis, like when we hear the last verse, how Krishna's eyes are going all around the gopis' breasts, it's like, oh, he's immediately lustful. Like immediately that's what we think, right? He's just being lustful like any lustful man looking at a woman's breasts. But it's like, no. Then immediately he says, no. There's no desire for personal gratification. Nirupadi prema yanha tanha evriti priti vishaya sukhe ashrayera priti nija prema nande Krishna sevananda vadhe se anande prati bhaktir haya mahakrode. Divya.
Whenever there is the unselfish love, that is its style. The reservoir of love derives pleasure when the lovable object is pleased. When the pleasure of love interferes with the service of Lord Krishna, the devotee becomes angry towards such ecstasy. As mentioned above, the gopis are the predominated lovers, and Sri Krishna is the predominator, the beloved. The love of the predominated nourishes the love of the predominator. The gopis had no desire for selfish enjoyment. Their feeling of happiness was indirect, for it was dependent on the pleasure of Krishna. Causeless love of Godhead is always so. Such pure love is possible only when the predominated is made happy by the happiness of the predominator. Such unadulterated love is exemplified when the lover deprecates her happiness if it hinders her from discharging her service.
Yeah, so he's saying that this is they're not interested in their own happiness. They're only interested in the happiness of the beloved, to the extent that if their own happiness somehow or other obstructs their capacity to serve Krishna, make Krishna happy, then they get angry with their own happiness. They're like, fie on this happiness. Lavangi, have your hand up?
Well, I think I figured out the answer, but I'll go ahead and ask the question anyway.
Okay.
So because you had just mentioned how Krishnadas Kaviraj was bringing up this point again and again, how the relationship between Krishna and the gopis is not out of lust. And at first I was kind of wondering how people ever, how the Gaudiya Vaishnava movement ever lost its pure Siddhanta and became like Sahajas, after the disappearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If Krishnadas Kaviraj made this point. But then I was thinking, well, the Chaitanya Charitamrita wasn't widely available for a long time. So
That's true. And also those people don't read it.
right.
That's the problem, right? They're not basing things on Shastra. They just speculate. I mean, even nowadays, like how many devotees even in ISKCON have read the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita? Right? And it's very easily available, right? It's on our phones, it's on our laptops. It's like so many books every temple. Nowadays, practically every household, there's a set of Srimad Bhagavatams and Chaitanya Charitamritas, and still, I know someone who's been in the movement for like 35 years. She has her own personal set of Chaitanya Charitamrita. She's had it for like at least a decade sitting on her shelf right there in her room, and she hasn't read it.
Well, actually, I remember when I was in Mayapur, I was going through Bhagavatam at that time, and I was looking for the 11th canto because I didn't have it. And so I found it in the Smith's library, and the lady was letting me borrow like different copies of it. And I told one older devotee, senior devotee, that that I was really enjoying going through the whole Bhagavatam, that I had almost finished it. And they told me, "Oh, I would like to do that someday."
Someday.
And
Yeah.
they've been in the movement almost 50 years. So
Oh my God.
true.
Yeah. So what to speak of those Sahajias? Yeah, that's why we need to read, so that we don't end up becoming like them. Right? Yeah, it's right on the phone. And then when we're bored, we're waiting in a line or we're waiting for someone, and we have cell phone is right in the hand. But instead of going and opening up, Vedabase or some Gita base, or, most of us have some Apple. So with Prabhupada's books, we just open up Instagram or TikTok or WhatsApp or Facebook or emails, right? So that's our disease. We don't have taste. Okay, now Krishna's going to give Krishnadas Kaviraj is going to give us an example of a devotee who. Oh, you have a question?
Yeah. So in the previous verse, as we read that how important it is for us, for Radharani's and Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying gopis, gopi, gopi. So why our acharyas, like we have all the bhajans of Krishna and like less of Radharani, and we are grateful more towards Krishna.
Yeah, because the thing is that we're following in the footsteps of the gopis, and gopis are always meditating on Krishna and wanting to please Krishna. So because they're focused on Krishna, then we're focused on Krishna. Right? The same thing, like we hear that Lord Chaitanya is the incarnation for this age of Kali Yuga, the worshipable deity for us in this age. But still, if you look at our altar, right? Radha Kalachandji there in the center, we have like 3 Radha Krishna deities, and then Gaunitai small off to the side. Why is that? Because Lord Chaitanya taught us to worship Radha and Krishna. So although he is the Yuga avatar, he's like the descendant of Krishna, the incarnation of Krishna. Well, he is Krishna for this age. And we can just worship Gaurnitai. In some temples, they have only Gaurnitai. Can worship Gaurnitai. But because Lord Chaitanya taught us to worship Radha and Krishna, we worship Radha and Krishna. But we do it through Gaurnitai. We don't just approach them alone. So on any altar, there should be Gaurnitai, right? Or at least Mahaprabhu somewhere. Okay, so now we're going to see an example of one devotee that he was getting so happy in serving Krishna that he was not able to serve. It was interfering with his service, and so he was not happy with his own happiness. Angastambaram vamutungayantam premanandam darukanabhyanandat kamsarate vijane yena sakshad akshodiyan antarayo vyadayi. Arjuna?
Sri Daruka did not relish his ecstatic feelings of love, for they caused his limbs to become stunned and thus obstructed his service of fanning Lord Krishna. This verse is from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.262.
So Daruka is Krishna's servant. He drives his chariot and he also serves him in other ways. And one day he's fanning Krishna and he got so ecstatic that he was getting stunned. Stunned means you can't move, you get like paralyzed. So when he was getting stunned, then he couldn't fan anymore because he couldn't move his arm. And then he was just like, ugh, stop, I don't want this ecstasy. Make these ecstatic feelings go away so that I can continue my service. Govinda Prekshanakshepi Bashpa Pura Bivarshinam Uchar Anindad Anandam Aravinda Vilochana. Kritika, are you there? Able to read?
Yes. The lotus-eyed Radharani powerfully condemned the ecstatic love that caused a flow of tears that hindered her sight of Govinda. Purport. This verse is also from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.354.
Yeah, so she's trying to see Krishna, but her eyes are welling up with tears. And so she can't see him because it's getting all blurry with all those tears in her eyes. So she's like, she powerfully condemned her own ecstatic love. That this love is a problem because it's making tears. And I can't see Krishna. Because seeing Krishna, like taking darshan, going to take darshan is also a service, right? Ara Shudha Bhakta Krishna Prema Seva Vine Swasukarta Salokyadina Kare Grahane.
Furthermore, few devotees like forsake the loving service of Lord Krishna to aspire for their own personal pleasure through the 5 kinds of liberation. Purport. A pure devotee of Krishna who loves him exclusively will flatly refuse to accept any sort of liberation, beginning from merging with the body of the Lord and extending to the other varieties of liberation, such as equality of form, opulence, abode, and the opulence of living near the Lord. That means living close to Vishnu, right? Narayan.
Yeah. Yeah, so the 5 kinds of liberation. Salokya, Sarsti, Samipya, Sayujya, and Sarupa. So yeah, devotees just want to serve Krishna. They don't care. If that liberation means that they can't serve Krishna, then they don't want liberation. They'd rather stay in the material world and serve Krishna than to get this liberation from the cycle of repeated birth and death, but not have an opportunity to serve Krishna. Text 205. Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogatir Avichinna Yata Gangam Busamburo. Sneha.
Just as the celestial waters of the Ganges flow unobstructed into the ocean, so when my devotees simply hear of me, their minds come to me, who reside in the hearts of all.
Nice. So that's supposed to be the result of hearing about Krishna. We hear about him, our mind just goes shh. rushing to him. 206. Lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya hidahritam ahaitukya vaipahita yabhakti purushottame.
These are the characteristics of transcendental loving service to Purushottam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is causeless and it cannot be obstructed in any way.
Okay. Text 207. Salokya sarsti sarupya samipya katvamapyuta diyamanam nagrinanti vinamatsevanam jana. I was wondering when this verse was going to come. Lavanga?
It can.
My devotees do not accept Salokya, Sarshti, Sarupa, Samipya, or oneness with me, even if I offer these liberations in preference to serving you.
Okay, that's from Srimad Bhagavatam 329, 11 to 13. 208. Matsevaya patitam te salokyadi chatushtayam nechanti sevaya purna kuton yatkala viplutam. Nikesh?
My devotees, having fulfilled their desire by serving me, do not accept the four kinds of salvation that are easily earned by such service. Why then should they accept any pleasure that are lost in the course of time? This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 9.467 was spoken by the Lord in connection with the characteristics of Maharaja Ambrisa. Merging into the existence of the Absolute is a temporary as living in the celestial kingdom. Both of them are controlled by time. Neither position is permanent.
So yeah, he's saying that the devotees don't even care about liberation, what to speak of any material pleasure that can be lost in the course of time. So yeah, and devotees are after the eternal situation, eternal service of Krishna. And so what is the use of attaining something that's just going to be lost? Like any kind of material happiness, material like possession, money, or relationships here in this world, they're all controlled by time and they're all going to be lost in due course of time. And Prabhupada says that even impersonal liberation, merging into the Brahmajyoti, is also temporary. Going to heaven is also temporary. All these things are temporary. So devotees don't care about any of these things at all. Lavanga?
So
At
does
least they're
this
not
mean
supposed to.
that all the forms of liberation are temporary, like having the same form as the Lord and having direct association with the Lord?
No, he's just talking about merging.
Okay.
Yeah, those are permanent, but even like having the same opulences as the Lord or having the same form of the Lord, if for some reason, you go to the spiritual world and you look exactly like Lord Vishnu, but you don't have a chance to serve Lord Vishnu, then what's the point? It's like, I don't want to just have a body and just be hanging out with a blue four-armed form with a yellow dhoti and a crown and whatever. I want to be serving. Okay, even if I have to take a material body on the earth and serve in the temple, ISKCON temple, I'd rather do that than be in Vaikuntha with the old form with which I can't serve Krishna, if that's the case.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's possible then to have the same form as the Lord and not be his like servant in the spiritual world.
Well, I mean, generally, I'm just saying if, I'm saying if
Okay.
that's the case. But generally, like everybody in Vaikuntha, the reason they go to Vaikuntha is because they want to serve the Lord. They want to worship the Lord. So they'll all be doing some worship, they'll be offering some ghee lamp, fanning, doing some service or worship, bringing the plate, or doing something like that, right?
That's A1 reference. Now we think
What's that?
like Krishna, we love them.
Yeah.
Vishnu Narayana is.
Yeah. So it's a
A1
different mood.
reference.
I mean, personally, even if I had service, oh, maybe it sounds weird to say. Anyways, I'll just say it. Even if I was on Vaikuntha and had some service for Lord Narayan, I would be like, you know what? I want to serve Krishna. I'd rather be in the material world serving Krishna. Hmm. Okay. Text 209. Kamaganda hina swabhavika gopi prema nirmala ujjvala shuddha yena dagda hema. Who are we on? Divya?
Hare Krishna, I'm just with a friend. She wants to read if that's okay. Her name is Shashikala. She's gonna read.
Okay, sure. Go ahead and read.
The natural love of the gopis is devoid of any trace of lust. It is faultless, bright, and pure, like molten gold.
Thank you. Okay, text 210. Krishna Sahaya Guru Bandava Preyasi Gopika Haina Priya Shishya Saki Dasi. There you go, Divya.
Thank you. The gopis are the helpers, teachers, friends, wives, dear disciples, confidants, and serving maids of Lord Krishna.
Yeah, that's a nice verse. It's talking about all the different ways that the gopis serve Krishna, right? Sometimes, depending on the situation or the mood or the pastime or what Krishna wants, then the gopis they play different roles, right? Sometimes they're helping him out with something. Sometimes they're teaching him how to do something. Sometimes they're just like hanging out, being his friend. Sometimes they're acting like a wife. Sometimes they're like followers being instructed by him. Sometimes they're confidants that he, shares his heart with. And sometimes they're serving maids that are, cooking for him and serving him food. And so depending on whatever it is that will please Krishna, they're happy to do anything, right? They're not like, Krishna, I'm your disciple. I can't teach you anything, right? If Krishna's like, hey, can you show me how to put this kind of flower on the garland? The gopis are like, I'm your disciple. I'm not supposed to teach you anything. Or if whatever Krishna wants, they just do. It doesn't matter. They're very flexible in doing the needful to serve Krishna. Sahaya Gudava Shishya Bhujishya Bandava Striya Satyam Vadami Te Partha Gopya Kim Me Bhavantina. Arjuna. Looks like Arjuna's away. Kritika, are you there?
O Partha, I speak to you the truth. The gopis are my helpers, teachers, disciples, servants, friends, and consorts. I do not know what they are not to me. Purport. This verse was taken by Lord Krishna, and this verse was spoken by Lord Krishna in the Gopi Premamrita.
It's kind of like there's a song. Goes Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. Right, Krishna's my mother, Krishna's my father, Krishna's the Lord of my life. So yeah, Krishna is everything. So, and to Krishna, the gopis are everything. The gopis are his teachers, his disciples, his servants, his friends, his helpers. I do not know what they are not to me. I should tell Premamrita that there's a book called the Gopi Premamrita. Okay, text 212. Gopika Janina Krishnera Manera Vanchita Prema Seva Paripati Ishta Samihita.
The gopis know Krishna's desires and they know how to render perfect loving service for his enjoyment. They perform their service expertly for the satisfaction of their beloved. That's how they think.
All they do is serve him for his
Yes.
satisfaction. Yeah, so the gopis, they know Krishna's desire. They know they have they can understand Krishna's mind, what Krishna wants. And Krishna doesn't have to ask them, oh, can you bring me this? Oh, can you do that for me? Like they know. And Prabhupada would say that there's different kinds of servants, first class, second class, third class, right? First class servant knows what the
without saying.
master needs, even without being told. The second class servant, they don't know, but as soon as the master tells them what to do, they go and do it. And the third class servant, the master has to tell them what to do, and still they don't do it. So we have to try to be the first class servant like the gopis. So they just see Krishna, they can understand his mood, they can understand his heart's desire, and then they just interact with him according to that way, whether any role that he wants them to play in his pastimes. And they do it expertly for his satisfaction. Mam mahatmyam mat sampartyam machchadam manmanogatam jananti gopika parta nanye jananti tatvataha. Sneha.
O Partha, the gopis know others cannot really know this. This verse was spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the Adi-lila.
So it looks like Krishna's really telling Arjuna about the gopis in that Adi Purana. You heard that yesterday, right? What was he saying about that? He's saying, "Oh Arjuna, there are no greater receptacles of deep love for me than the gopis, who cleanse and decorate their bodies because they consider them mine." They consider their own bodies Krishna, and now he's saying that he's telling Arjuna that. Wait, what? I just lost my place. Which verse did you just read?
230.
Okay, 213. Oh yeah. That only the gopis can understand my mind. And yeah. So Krishna has a lot of trust in the gopis. He has total faith that they know him perfectly well. They know exactly what he wants. They know how to do it, and they're going to do everything perfectly for his satisfaction. Text 214. Se gopi gana madhye uttama radhika rupe gune saubhagye preme sarvadhika. Pragati.
Among the gopis, Srimati Radhika is the foremost. She surpasses all in beauty, in good qualities, in good fortune, and above all in love. Among all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most exalted. She is the most beautiful, the most qualified, and above all, the greatest lover of Krishna.
Jai Shrimati Radharani. Yata Radha Priya Vishnos Tasya Kundam Priyam Tata Sarvagopishu Saivaika Vishnor Atyanta Vallabha. Lavanga.
Oh, wait, my phone just skipped back. What verse is it?
215.
Okay, 215. Okay. Just as Radha is dear to Lord Krishna, so her bathing place, Radhakund, is dear to him. She alone is his most beloved of all the gopis. Purport. This verse is from Padma Purana.
Right. Yeah, Rupa Goswami says something very similar, right, in Nectar of Instruction. So let's go ahead. Trilokye Prithividhanya Yatra Vrindavanam Bhuri Tatrapi Gopika Partha Yatra Radha Bidha Mama. Nikesh.
Partha, in all the three planetary systems, this earth is especially fortunate, for one earth is the town of Vrindavana, and there the gopis are especially glorious because among them is my Srimati Radharani. This verse spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna is cited from the Adi Purana.
So sweet. He's again talking to Arjuna. So same thing. And he's saying that this earth is very blessed because Srimati Radharani is there. And he says, among them is my Srimati Radharani, right? He says, Radha Bida Mama. My Radha means Radharani, Abida named, and then Mama, my. He says, there is my girl named Radharani. Basically, my beloved. There's my beloved named Radharani. So Radha Saha Krida Rasa Vidhira Karana Arasava Gopigana Rasopakarana. Arjuna.
Okay. O Partha, in all the three
For the
planetary
next.
all the other gopis help increase the joy of Krishna's pastimes with Radharani. The gopis act as the instruments of their mutual enjoyment. Purport. It is said that the gopis are divided into 5 groups, namely the Sakis, Nitya Sakis, Prana Sakis, Priya Sakis, and Paramaprishta Sakis. All these fair-complexioned associates of Srimati Radharani, the Queen of Vrindavan Dham, are expert artists in evoking erotic sentiments in Krishna. The Paramaprishta Sakis are 8 in number, and in the ecstatic dealings of Krishna and Radha, they side sometimes with Krishna and at other times with Radharani, just to create a situation in which it appears that they favor one against the other. That makes the exchange of mellows more palatable.
So some of them, if there's an argument, some of them will take Krishna's side and some of them will take Radharani's side. And that way it becomes balanced and then the argument goes on longer. Because if it was just Krishna against all the gopis, they would just throw him out and it would be done. Get out of here then. Go take your ideas and go sit under a tree somewhere far from us. But because the gopis sometimes side with Krishna, then they get stuck. And it goes on and on. Krishna Vallabha Radha Krishna Pranadana Tana Vinu Sukha Hetu Nahe Gopi Gana. Kritika.
Radha is the beloved consort of Krishna, and she is the wealth of his life. Without her, the gopis cannot give him pleasure.
So all the gopis love Krishna and they're all expansions of Radharani, but even they cannot give Krishna any pleasure without Radharani. So that's also instructive for us because, if we try to approach Krishna directly and just try to please Krishna, that's nice, but we're not going to be able to actually please Krishna so much unless we go through Srimati Radharani. So that's why we worship Radha and Krishna. And when Krishna's great-grandson Vajranabh went to Vrindavan, he saw that, the places of Krishna's pastimes were lost, and he thought, oh, this is my great-grandfather, and he was such an amazing person. We need to have monuments here and temples. Everywhere, every significant place, there needs to be a temple of Krishna, and people go worship him. So he did that, but because he's a Dwarkavasi, then, he just established a temple of Krishna. So the original Goswami temples, they were Madan Mohan, they were Govindaji, they were Gopinath, like that, but there were no Radharanis there. And then it wasn't until a little later that Janavama went there, Lord Nityananda's wife. So after Lord Nityananda wound up his pastimes, then his wife Janava stayed, and she went to Vrindavan, and she was like, "What is this? Only Krishna? Where's Radha?" So she went back to somewhere. Anyway, she met with the Stapatis and she was like, "We need like 15 Radharanis." And she got like a whole shipment of Radharanis and she gave each one of the Krishnas his own Radharani. So then so it became Radha Madana Mohan, Radha Govinda, Radha Gopinath, Radha Shama Sundar. The only one that didn't get a Radha was Radharaman because he was a Shalagram Shila at the time.
Who? Radharaman.
Yeah.
But they have right now they just do something indicating
They have
Radha.
something that
Yeah.
signifies Radharani's presence. Yeah. So Janava was like, people aren't going to be able to get much benefit worshiping just Krishna. They have to worship Radha and Krishna because Krishna is not happy without Radha. And if you want to get the most benefit, you got to make Krishna very happy. And the way to make Krishna very happy is to worship him together with Radharani.
How come Goswami they did not put Radha? They did not have Radharani.
Not sure. I mean, they were probably just meditating on Radha in their minds. Obviously, they knew about Radha, but because those were the deities that were installed, they were basically just reestablishing what was already done. Yeah, but then I guess just Janava felt really strongly about it, and so she did it. Divya? Obviously, she did it with the blessings of the Goswamis, right?
Yeah.
Because she probably brought it up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, great idea, let's do it." Divya?
Sorry, Shashikala had a question, but I think it relates to what you just said. We kind of missed some of what you said. Can you repeat it? Or can Shashikala ask her question? Hare Krishna, when the Shat Goswamis discovered the Madan Mohan or Govinji, Gopinathji, they only found the deities of Krishna, but not Radharani, is it? Or because
Yeah.
Janava,
That's what I was saying. There were no Radhas to discover. There was only the Krishna deities.
but Janava was the one who brought Radharani. So where did they appear from? Where did they again be
They didn't
rediscovered?
appear. She had them made. She went to the sculptor and had them made.
And as in, like, who rediscovered them? We did not understand.
Who rediscovered
Where-
who?
Shat Goswami did not rediscover Radharani. Where did we
No.
find them, Radharani?
They didn't find them. They ordered them to be made.
Yeah, like monthly. Oh, Lord Nityananda Prabhu.
Okay. All right, let's go to text 219. Kam sharir api samsara vasana badha shrinkalam radham adaya hridaye tatyaja vraja sundari. Who's reading now? Back to you, Madhavati.
Lord Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, left aside other gopis during the Rasa dance, took Srimati Radharani to his heart.
She?
Aparshi is the helper of the Lord in realizing the essence of his desire. In this verse, Gita Govinda 3.1g, Jayadev Goswami describes Sri Krishna as living the Adi-lila to search for Srimati Radharani.
Yeah, because sometimes in the middle of the rasa dance, Krishna leaves, and then the gopis all go searching for him. But sometimes in the middle of rasa dance, Radharani leaves. And as soon as Radharani leaves, Krishna can't enjoy himself anymore, even though there's millions of beautiful gopis there dancing with him. He's just like, where's Radharani? And then he just leaves to go look for her. And then they all start looking for her because they know that Krishna's not going to be happy until we find her, and we need to make Krishna happy ASAP. Text 220. Se Radhara Bhavalana Caitanya Vatara Yuga Dharma Nama Prema Kaila Padachara. Sneha.
Lord Chaitanya age, the chanting of holy name, your love of God.
Now we're getting back to the topic. Right? The topic was the confidential reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearing, that he wanted to understand the love of Srimati Radharani. So then Krishna's Kaviraj went off on a whole tangent talking about the love of Radharani. Se bhave nijavancha karila purana avatarera e vancha mula karana.
In the mood of Srimati Radharani, this is the principal reason for his appearance.
Yeah, so this is the main reason. The other reasons are incidental. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gosai Brajendra Kumara Rasamaya Murti Krishna Sakshada Shringara. Lavanga.
Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya is Krishna Brajendra Kumara, the embodiment of rasas. He is amorous love personified.
See, if you had any doubts, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, the very son of Nanda Maharaj. Se rasa asvadite kaila avatara anusange kaila sabara sera prachara. Bhagati.
He made his appearance to taste that conjugal mellow and incidentally to broadcast all the rasas.
Yeah. So he came to teach the holy name. He came to broadcast all the rasas, especially the conjugal rasa. And he came to taste Srimati Radharani's love and the attractive qualities in himself that she alone relishes to the maximum. And what was the other thing? His beauty, his attraction, feelings.
The lover was Radharani and he was the loved, so he wanted to
Yeah,
see how
it feels to
be a lover.
of himself. Okay, 224. Vishvesham anuranjanena jananam anandam indivara Shvene Shyamala Komalar Upanayam Angar Angotsavam Swachandam Vrajasundari Virabhita Pratyangam Alingita Shringara Sakimurti Mani Vaimido Mukto Hari Kridati. My dear friends, just see how Sri Krishna is enjoying the season of spring. With the gopis embracing each of his limbs, he is like amorous love personified. With his transcendental pastimes, he enlivens all the gopis and the entire creation. With his soft bluish-black arms and legs, which resemble blue lotus flowers, he has created a festival for Cupid. This is also from the Gita Govinda. So in the last verse, Krishna's Kaviraj is saying that Lord Chaitanya is amorous love personified. And then he quotes this verse because it talks about how Krishna is amorous love personified. And it paints a little picture of him in that scene of engaging in pastimes of amorous love with the gopis. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gosai Rasera Sadhana Ashesha Visheshe Kaila Rasa Asvadana Lavanga.
Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya is the abode of rasa. He himself tasted the sweetness of rasa in endless ways.
He's the abode of rasa, he's the embodiment of rasa, and now he's came as the taster of rasa. Sedvare pravartaila kali yuga dharma chaitanyera dase jani esaba marma. Nikesh?
Thus, he initiated the Dharma for the age of Kali. The devotees of Lord Chaitanya knows all their truths. Lord Chaitanya is Sri Krishna himself, the absolute enjoyer of the love of the gopis. He himself assumes the role of the gopis to taste the predominated happiness of transcendental mellows. He appeared in that mood, but simultaneously he propagated the religious process for this age in a most fascinating way. Only the confidential devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand this transcendental secret.
So we're fortunate because even if we're not confidential devotees of Lord Chaitanya, but we're hearing it from the confidential devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So we're getting the inside scoop. Advaita Acharya Nityananda Srinivasa Gadadhara Damodara Murari Haridasa Arayata Chaitanya Krishnera Bhakta Gana Bhakti Bhave Shire Dhari Sabara Charana. Arjuna?
Advaita Charya, Lord Nityananda, Srivas Pandit, Gadadhar Pandit, Swarup Damodar, Murari Gupta, Haridas Thakur, and all the other devotees of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, bowing down with devotion, I hold their lotus feet on my head. The author of Sri Caitanya Caritamrita teaches us that we must offer our respectful obeisances to all such pure confidential devotees of Lord Chaitanya if we indeed want to know him in truth.
Yeah. So Krishna's Kaviraj is very grateful because, yeah, he was feeling the same way that we were just feeling when we read this verse, that the devotees of Lord Chaitanya know all these truths. And he's also feeling like he's not a confidential devotee of Lord Chaitanya either, because yeah, he learned all this also secondhand, right? He learned from Raghunath Das Goswami, who was a confidential associate, and Swarup Damodar, who was a confidential. So all the names of these people here, these were all like got a lot of personal association with Lord Chaitanya.
Yes.
And specifically, Swarup Damodar, he kept diaries of that. Murari Gupta, he kept the diaries. And Gadadhar Pandit, he was a very close associate with Swarup Damodar, who probably told him many things which he noted down in his diary. And Advaita Acharya and Lord Nityananda were there in Navadvip, where Murari Gupta was living, and he was hearing surely things from them. And then Haridas Thakur was in Puri, he was meeting with Lord Chaitanya every day. So all the things that Krishna's Kaviraj is telling us about Lord Chaitanya, he's learning from these confidential devotees. So he's offering his gratitude, his respectful obeisances to all of them, because by their mercy, he knows these things, right? It's like a lot of times when devotees talk about Srila Prabhupada, right? Like if it wasn't for Prabhupada, we wouldn't know anything about anything, Literally, we would just be lost in Maya, total ignorance, doing all kinds of nonsense and totally materially absorbed. And yeah, even many devotees who were born and grew up in India, but somehow they didn't come in contact with this spiritual knowledge until they came to the US and visited an ISKCON temple and then read Prabhupada's books. And then I have heard Indian devotees who spend the whole life, first 30 years of their life or 25 years of their life in India, and they're just like, only by Prabhupada's mercy I know anything about Krishna. Because whatever they learned in India, it was like a misunderstanding. It wasn't even, they knew the name Krishna, but it was all like totally
Like I used to like
Hmm.
I never went to Krishna temple this.
Yeah, because the way people in India think of Krishna, they don't think he's so worshipable. Right? So then, yeah, but only by Prabhupada's mercy, the whole world was able to know who actually is Krishna. And what to speak of Lord Chaitanya is even more difficult to know about because he's more recent and because he came as a devotee. He doesn't, Krishna, it's like, okay, he lifted Govardhan Hill, he did so many miracles, right? But Lord Chaitanya, huh?
This time, Lord Chaitanya came 6th century.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't that long ago. Krishna came again. He came twice in our recent-ish history. Lavanga?
Oh no, when you said that you've seen so many Indian devotees say it's only by Prabhupada's mercy that I know anything about Krishna. And it reminded me of when I was in Tucson, and I would go and do book distribution, and we would do some Harinam at the campus of U of A, the University of Arizona. And there was this one student there that I befriended, and he was from India. And so he would come eat at the restaurant and things like that. And then he came for a festival day, and he told me, he said, I don't know why they pour all these substances on the idol, like yogurt and fruit and like honey and all. Like, why don't you just give it to people on the street? There's so many people starving in the street. They do this same thing in India, and I have no idea like why. So, and I actually had to explain to him like Abhishek, and I was kind of shocked because I thought people from India knew all these things. The guy was
Yeah.
from a Hindu background, but it's like because the knowledge, gradually, if people don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, the next generation just gives it up completely, so the knowledge
Yeah.
gets lost.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, I remember when I was a new devotee too, I was thinking anybody from India must know a lot more than I do. And so I would be on book distribution and meet Indian people there, and I would not really I wouldn't really preach to them. I wouldn't really try so hard to give them the books because I just made this false assumption that they already knew Bhagavad Gita, they already knew everything. And then I went back to a temple one day, and I was talking about how, there were some Indian people. And he said, what did you tell the Indian people? I was like, I didn't tell them anything. They probably could have told me some things. And then he's like, no, they don't know anything. You've only been in the movement for 2 months and you know like 100 times more than they know about Krishna. He's like, you need to preach to them. So that was the interesting perspective. Anyways, yeah, so Srila Prabhupada did something really amazing. He came and he gave Krishna to the whole world, and the whole world went back to India and told India about it.
Basically, we're more Indian than the Indians.
Right? There you go.
Somebody actually said that to me once. He was like, you already Christians are more Hindu than the Hindus.
Yeah. Jai. All right. So it's 5:05. We better end. Let's just see if there's any action out here. Oh, what happened? I'm on the wrong page. Yikes. I don't know. I got lost in cyberspace here. So we will stop here. And today's Friday, so we'll resume class on Monday. And next week will actually be
228.
228. All right. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, last week will be our last week actually, because then I'm going to travel and they're gonna be doing, we'll pause CC until I get back in end of December. Or maybe beginning of January after the new year. But they'll be reading Krishna book. Oh, Divya's crying.
Me too.
I know this has been so nectar. I don't want to stop either. But as soon as I get to England, I'm gonna have a full schedule, and then I'm gonna be in India, and time zone's gonna be crazy, and I'm also gonna be really busy too. So, but they'll be reading the Krishna book.
Yeah.
Oh, Arjuna's getting angry.
We will still be.
So you can on the 19th, next Sunday. But y'all can read Krishna book and you can send out the Zoom link. Yeah, you can use my login. I'll give you my
Or I
login.
can make another.
But you have a Zoom account, you don't have to pay for 1 hour. Because usually if you don't pay, you get only 40 minutes. I pay for mine so you can use it. Okay, resolved. Krishna book for the rest of the year after next week.
Jai.
You can all join. Yay, everybody's happy again.
That'll hold me over.
Okay, good. All right, Krishna. So we'll see you on Monday.
Hare
Shri
Krishna.
Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur